Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. I have some fun sunflower projects for you today, but first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the bell to be notified, and a thumbs up is always appreciated. Okay, I needed something for like late summer for my coffee bar. Now, I found this elusive calendar, and it's the 2022 calendar that everybody's looking for at Dollar Tree, and I've been to all the Dollar Trees and I found one copy. And I found something in there that I want to use. It's called Honeybees and Flowers Please. And my plan is just to use some of this Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree and this summer sign from the dollar spot at Target. It's the right size, it's round, and I think it's going to work. The only thing that I think I would have done differently had I been given the chance was to paint some white over the writing, the black writing that was on that sign, because I did have a little trouble covering that up. But I just put a layer of Mod Podge down and then put the calendar page on there, and I'm trying to get it dry. Now, it did wrinkle. The calendar is not very thick, the paper, and I'm thinking that if I would have sprayed it with some water first, it may have wrinkled less. But hindsight's 20/20, and it does look better today now that it's got a chance to dry. And so I am going over the top of the calendar with some Mod Podge. And I thought sunflowers would be a fun theme because it kind of is summer, it's kind of fall. And I think that would be a really good transition for my coffee bar area. This calendar has like cinnamon sticks, sunflowers, bees, acorns, honey dipper, that kind of stuff on there. I love that vibe and I think it's really cute. So I didn't bother cutting the circle. What I'm going to do is just use one of these sanding blocks from the Dollar Tree to get off the excess paper, and it gives me a really clean circular cut. I think this is the like roughest sanding stone that they have. It did take a little bit of sanding and pressure to get that off, but it came off really well. I was really happy with how it came off. And I'm gonna hang this piece above my coffee bar. In my house, I have a Primo machine that accepts K-cups, and so I use that as my coffee bar. So I like to decorate the shelf in the area above it, and I think this would be really good for the top of it. So I decided to go over with another coat of that matte Mod Podge to give it a final seal and to make it a little bit more durable. And I'm just drying that with my heat gun. I was a little worried about the wrinkles in there. But again, they did flatten out and you can't even tell now. Now, with that white paper, it's really thin. So you could see that little area where it said like Hello Sunshine or something like that. So I thought I would use some of this ivory chalk paint by Waverly and my chunky brush and kind of use that to cover that black writing underneath and also to distress this piece, to make it look a little bit more weathered and kind of like a hand-painted sign. And on the two sides of the "and" is where you could kind of see that writing coming through. I think it was worse when the paper was kind of still wet. Once it dried, it became way less noticeable, but I'm trying to cover that the best that I can. And I'm finally happy with it. I decided that I like it like this, but I decided that it needed something extra for a finishing touch. And so I decided to use some of this decorative nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. And I thought I could just frame it with it. So I'm just cutting off the end of that rope where the tape is. And I am just going to attach that to my flower sign with some hot glue. So I'm not hot gluing everywhere, but I do hot glue a lot of it because I want to make sure that it stays on there and doesn't separate. So I'm kind of just working like in a quarter section of a time and putting a really thin bead of hot glue I love this hot glue gun, but for real, I burnt myself on this project, like major blister. The glue gets so hot, but I do love the fact that it's cordless. And I hate the cord on a hot glue gun. And there we go. Just trimming off the end, trying to make it look a little bit more finished where the rope comes together. Now, this sign was $3 at the Target dollar spot. It was in with their summer stuff, and it's already got a hanger on the back. So I don't need to do anything to it. I just decided to go around the edge of that rope with my lighter to burn off any little strings and frays that we may have. And I decided I wanted to add a flower. There was a hole from the calendar, and I thought I would use one of these daisies from the Dollar Tree. They're in with their fall stuff, but then I decided it was way too big, but the little flower in the center would be just the right size. So I just took the flower apart and decided to hot glue that one over the little hole in the calendar at the top. Then I decided I liked that and I wanted to do more of it. So I decided to use all 4 of those daisies and just take the little flower apart with the little flower to attach to my sign. And I had a honeybee theme for my tier tray, and I thought about bringing some of that stuff in, but I don't have a lot of room on my coffee bar. But I like the idea of the honeybees and the sunflowers together. That's super cute. And I am just attaching those little flowers just to the top, the bottom, and the left and the right, kind of symmetrical, to finish that piece off. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. Okay, next project. Check out this wallpaper. My Dollar Tree just got this wallpaper in. They have it in like shiplap brick, this chevron pattern of wood. It is so cool. I love it. So I picked one up because I wanted to give the appearance of having a wood sign on both sides of that circular sign. But I didn't have any wood and I didn't have any long signs, so I'm improvising. So I found these decals also at the Dollar Tree of sunflowers, and they are exactly what I was thinking. They have little bees, which I put on there, but I end up taking them off because I do frame it out a little bit. And this one was a little tricky to get off. I did rip a leaf, but it was easy to put it back on. But all I'm doing is attaching, it's like a giant sticker to that wallpaper. Now, I thought about just attaching the wallpaper to my walls on the sides of that picture, but I thought it would look really cheap, and I thought I would need more depth. So I'm just using foam board from the Dollar Tree, since I don't have any long signs, kind of making my own. So I just attached that wallpaper to the foam board on the corner, so I would have 2 sides that were nice and even, and I'm just using a blade from the Dollar Tree to cut that into a little sign. And here is the other one. And I wish I would have had like my long sign. I think that would have worked really well. But when you don't have it, you make it yourself, right? And I really like how these turned out. They're super cute, and I thought they needed something to frame them a little bit, but I didn't really have anything like wood. But I thought with the whole, like I used rope on the last project, that maybe this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree would make a nice frame. And so I am just going to use that. They have these in a couple different patterns. I have several. This is the one that's kind of like the zigzag pattern on the thin burlap ribbon. And I think it's really pretty. It goes with that wood on that wallpaper. And it also ties it into my first piece with the rope border. I really like the taupe color and the greens. I think that looks really nice. And it kind of reminds me of late summer to fall and goes with my sunflower theme. So I am just going around all 4 sides. Super easy, just hot gluing. And this also makes my sides look straight, and so that's always good. And I end up just attaching these to my wall with just some Command adhesive strips because it's made out of foam board It's super light, and so it didn't really need a hanger or anything like that. And it made it like super flexible. And I am just doing one for each side of my wall, and it frames out my honeybees and flowers please sign really well. So just finishing that up with some more ribbon. And I'm really glad I decided to frame it out like that. I think they turned out super cute. What do you think? And all done. And again, I just hung those with foam. I'm burning some of the fray off, but be careful. I noticed that the foam board wanted to melt with my lighter, so I decided to stop doing that. And this is the final result. Okay, now this is a placemat from the Dollar Tree, and I love the color green, and I love the sunflowers on it. I thought it would make a really fun like pennant banner for my shelf area. I have a hanging shelf that is above my coffee bar, and that is kind of what I use for my coffee bar. So I had just a wood pennant, and I just used that as a template and just an ink pen and drew on the back of my placemat. And I am just gonna cut that out. And it's not a very long shelf, so I don't need very many. I think 4 of these pennants are gonna be just fine. And I thought about leaving the yellow on the back, but they're actually pretty thick. They really didn't need another level of reinforcement, but you totally could. And that is all there is to it. I'm gonna make this like a super simple pennant. I'm not gonna have it where you can slide them back and forth. I am just gonna hot glue some of this twine from the Dollar Tree to the back. And so I am using one of those little cutting mats from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use that just to help me measure the distance in between them so that they're even. Since I can't move them back and forth, I'm going to want them to be the right distance apart. I think I ended up going with like 1.5 inches apart. And I'm just doing a thin bead of hot glue along the top of those pennants and then just gluing that twine right on. This project was so simple, and I really love how it tied in with the green and the sunflowers from my first 2 projects. And just gluing on the last one there and cutting off the twine, and we are done with that project. Okay, now you're like, girl, you've got lots of arrows. What the heck are you doing? Now, I thought it would be fun to make a K-cup holder for my coffee bar. I always need more storage for my K-cups for coffee, and I thought I could make something. I couldn't really find any wood that was the right size that I liked, so I ended up using 3 of these arrows from the Dollar Tree, and the one sign there with the little rounded top. And I'm gonna build a box for my K-cups. And so I kind of saw how deep I needed it for the shelf, and I measured that off on one and then used that measurement to do the other. Then I'm using the width of that sign that I'm gonna use for the back to do how long I need the final arrow to be. And I'm just cutting off all the strings, removing all the staples from the arrows because they were stapled on the back. And I'm just going to use my saw to cut those into rectangles. I don't have a very good saw. I have a jigsaw, so my cuts aren't perfect, but I end up making it work. They did require quite a bit of sanding with my little sanding blocks from the Dollar Tree, but I did get them reasonably straight. And so I can have 2 side panels, and I need 1 front panel. For my little box, that one was cut a little crooked, and so I tried to trim it up a little bit more to get a straight edge. And again, just sanding. That wood did splinter a little bit with that high-powered saw. I might have been better off by using a handsaw, but I don't really have a miter box or anything to saw that with, so I probably need to get a new saw. Probably be a good investment. All right, cleaning up all of my mess from all of that sanding, and I am going to start working on my box. So there were holes on the side of this sign, and I am just filling those holes with the spackle from the Dollar Tree. And I'm using one of these like embossed stickers from the Dollar Tree in Sunflower. And I thought that would be it would give me like a nice, like carved look, you know, for the top of that. And I decided I wanted my K-Cup box to be green to match the green and all my other projects. I was kind of going with that green from the pennant banner. And so I have the rest of my placemat sitting right there, so I can kind of figure out what color of green I want. I really didn't have any greens that were that color, and so I was struggling, but I just kept mixing my greens together until I got that right, like olive color of green was what I was going for, because before it was just way too blue. And then I made it a little too dark, so I am just lightening up a bit, and I finally get a color that I like. Now, I decided to paint all of the pieces before I put it together. I thought that would be easier than trying to paint it once it's all together. Now, I didn't like how this was sitting up with that foam piece, so I pull it off and then hot glue it back on to try to get it flatter against the wood to give me that look that I am going for. And I'm painting everything that olive green color, and I still don't like it. So I decided to go in there was another sunflower on that sheet, and pull off the foam and try again and see if I can get that tight fit on the wood to give me that like embossed sunflower look, and just going over that with paint. Now, I don't think my wood adhered to each other as well being painted, so I'm not sure if painting it first was a good idea. I don't know, maybe. And so I am just going all over that piece and making it a solid color of green until I get it the way I like it. And then this is one of my side pieces. I'm kind of painting the tops and bottoms too, in case they might be visible. The sides probably won't be, the way that I'm going to put my little K-Cup box together. And this is not going to be the most durable box, but it's crafting and it's only going to hold K-Cup, so I think that it doesn't have to be like super durable. I'm not going to use nails or anything. I'm going to try to attach this box together with glue. And there was a lot of painting here, so I am trying to get the first coat on those dry. This one I thought needed another coat, and so that's what I'm doing there. That's going to be my back piece for my box, and now I'm going to start working on the other sides for the side panels and the front. And I really wanted it to be green inside because this is going to be a functional piece and you're going to be able to see inside the box. So that's one reason why I painted them all at the beginning. And so I'm also going to make it look like a finished product. So I'm going to paint my back. And there was a little bit of chalk paint in there. I mixed so many colors together though. It was kind of a combination of acrylic and chalk paint, but it did dry fairly well. And I'm giving another coat to my outside pieces to make them look nice and solid. I'm just using my heat gun to get that all dry. If you don't have a heat gun, you really need to pick one up. I'll post a link to mine below. They speed up your projects so much. Now I'm just going to use a bead of hot glue and attach that side panel on. Again, this part's not going to be super sturdy, but it is what it is. So I'm going to also use hot glue to attach this side. And finally, I'm going to use a bead of hot glue on each side, and I am going to attach the top or the front on top there. And I'm just kind of making sure it's all square and giving that hot glue a little bit of time to dry. And then I also ran a bead of hot glue on the inside of the corners to give it a little bit more stability. Now, this bamboo cutting board is going to be my base for my box. And I'm going to use a combination of wood glue on the front and back and hot glue on the sides to attach that to the bottom of my box. I've been really happy. My Dollar Trees have been getting these little bamboo cutting boards in a lot, and I've been having no trouble finding them. I love them. They're so versatile and they have a nice finish. Now, you know your girl wasn't happy with that sunflower. It just didn't have the effect that I thought in my head it was going to have. Like I wanted it to look like a detailed sunflower, and that's not really the look it was giving me. So I ripped it off, and I am just painting the area where the sunflower was and trying to touch up any areas that need it. And what I'm going to do instead of the embossed sunflower there at the top is replace that with a sunflower sticker that is a little bit more colorful and I think will stand out a little bit more. And that's actually a good idea because then I could take that off and transition this piece into something else without a lot of effort. So I'm just making sure that the paint is good and dry. And I'm trying to get it was a little rough where I pulled that off, so I was trying to get that to a smooth surface again. Now, this is a new fall sticker. I picked these up today. Tons of fall stuff at my Dollar Tree. I got so excited. And I'm just going to stick that sticker on the back, and that is all there is to it. It is ready for K-Cups. There we go. I have some more K-Cup storage. Super convenient, right where I want them, and it totally goes with my theme. Now, I got this at Dollar Tree. It is a sunflower coffee cup. I decided I wanted two, and I went to like 3 Dollar Trees today and could not find another one, so only one. And then I'm just going to use some sunflowers to decorate my little coffee bar area. And I cut off 2, but I think I ended up only using 1, and that is it. Okay, final reveal time. There's our foam board signs made with wallpaper and decals, and our calendar sign. And this is my coffee bar area, and it looks great with that sunflower K-cup holder. It turned out wonderful. And there is the sunflower pennant banner as well. I really like that sunflower coffee cup, and I think that all these pieces look really good together, and it really gives me a late summer feel. It's kind of summer, it's kind of fall. It's perfect for going into August. And it makes me smile when I am making my coffee every day. I really hope you liked these sunflower projects. If you did, please hit the like button and comment your favorite project if you don't mind. And don't forget to subscribe. Only about half of my viewers are subscribed, so you may think you are, and you're really not. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.